Locked On Podcast Network presents Locked On Sports Today.
A wild night in Charlotte resulted in a last-second win for the Hornets that you probably didn't get a chance to actually see. Also, Portland and Phoenix battled for the right to play San Antonio in the NBA playoffs, and is losing a trade worth it for the Dallas Cowboys? I'm Peter Bukowski, starting your day with the can't-miss stories and biggest debates in sports. You're Locked On Sports Today.
Searching all major sports. Found.
Let's start with the biggest story.
The Charlotte Hornets are one win away from officially entering the NBA playoff bracket after winning a wild back-and-forth affair with the Miami Heat, a finish that many did not get a chance to see because of technical difficulties with Amazon's feed. Locked On Hornets host Doug Branson reacted to Charlotte's insane overtime performance against the Heat.
The Hornets just won a play-in game, 127-126 over the Miami Heat, delivering Miami their first play-in loss, a revenge win for the Hornets, their last playoff defeat coming at the hands of the Miami Heat, a team that has constantly given them problems in a number of areas. So, and all the clutch baskets, overtime, Coby White was incredible. Miles Bridges was incredible. LaMelo delivers the game-winning shot, the go-ahead bucket, after missing, I believe, 9 straight three-pointers in the second half in overtime. The ball still finds him, and he still finds the will to get this team over the hump and into an opportunity to advance into the playoffs. Excuse me if I don't go extremely buck wild on this episode. Trust me, I want to. But first of all, I've got a baby. I don't know if you know that I have a baby, and the baby is just the baby's room is just a few feet from me. So tune in tomorrow when Walker, my co-host, WFNZ 12 to 3, Wes and Walker, War Cry Wednesday tomorrow is going to be buck wild. This show is going to be buck wild. I'm going to try to center my energy. I feel like I'm numb from the waist down. Just that game was incredible. I just closed my laptop at the end of the game and I just ran up and down the hallway of the house, quietly, screaming on the inside. Can't wake the baby. But I was just running up and down the halls. Typically I would end the episode with Sicko celebrations, something that has become a tradition on this show. The folks that are in the Sicko Brigade, join subtext.com/Locked On Hornets. The truest, the sickest of the sickos do celebrations, lamentations when the Hornets lose, but the Hornets did not lose. No. They won, and they won in the most incredible fashion that I think they could have possibly won. And so I'm just going to start this episode with some Sicko celebrations, and I think it'll be a perfect entry point because I'm sure that the Sickos will have everything covered here. We go first to David from Gastonia's 00 Hawes Battalion, who said the ups and downs of that game will be robbing me of sleep tonight. Oh my God, David is exactly right. The Hornets absolutely were going to win that game, and absolutely were going to lose that game so many times because one of the Hornets' strengths, maybe the Hornets' strength this year, has been shooting from the outside, 3-point shots. And really just pull up shooting, just like straight, I'm going to pop this in your eye. Most of the time it's open, but the Hornets have been able to hit contested threes as well. But in this game, 3-pointers, 32%, 18 of 56. And I mentioned LaMelo Ball, one of their best 3-point shooters, finished just 1 3-pointer behind Con Knipple for the NBA's lead in 3-pointers made. Couldn't hit a shot in the second half or overtime. And he was joined by the guy who was 1 3-pointer ahead of him. Con Knipple, the rookie, was not shooting the ball well at all in this game as well. 6 points in 34 minutes, 2 of 12 from the field. LaMelo Ball finishing 2 of 16 from 3. Con Knipple missing all 6 of his 3-pointers. If I just give you that information, if I tell you LaMelo Ball 2 of 16 from 3, if I tell you Grant Williams 1 of 5 from 3, and Con Knipple 0 of 6 from 3, you might say, wow, yeah, against the Miami Heat in a play-in situation where they had come in never having lost in a play-in game. The Hornets 0-12 all time as a franchise in elimination games. If I had given you all of that information, you would have said, Doug, I'm sorry. They lost. They probably put up a valiant effort. The Charlotte Hornets, they are very good at putting up valiant efforts, but they just fell short. And I would say, no. They did not. They actually won this game. Why? Because Coby White just went into a different universe. 19 points, felt like he scored 49 because of the level of difficulty on the shots that he was making from the corner. 7 of 15 from the field, 2 of 7 from 3, but 5 of 8 from the three-point line. Scored 11 straight points to give them a 6-point lead going into the fourth quarter, and then, of course, hits that huge shot in the fourth quarter to help force overtime.
Stay up to date all year on the Charlotte Hornets by subscribing to Locked On Hornets on YouTube or your favorite podcast app. Your Locked On Sports today. Coming up, the Trailblazers and Suns fought for their play-in lives. Before we get to that, Steph Curry is being hit with a minutes restriction in the Warriors play-in contest. The NBA playoffs are here where every possession matters. Every matchup is magnified, and every game can swing a series. And right now, FanDuel is giving new customers a great way to get in on the action. You can bet just $5 and get $250 in bonus bets if that first bet wins. The app makes it easy to follow the action with player stats, trends, and matchups all in one place. And during the playoffs, that extra insight really matters when you're looking at stars, role players, or key moments. It just makes the entire playoff experience that much more engaging from start to finish. Head to FanDuel.com to get started. FanDuel, play your game. The Golden State Warriors are heading into a win or go home play-in game against the LA Clippers. And they're doing it with Stephen Curry on a minutes restriction because nothing says urgency like pacing your best player in an elimination game. It's the reality for Golden State right now. Injuries, age, and a roster that's been managed all year instead of unleashed. Over on the Diamonds, the Braves squeeze past the Marlins late.
The Atlanta Braves get a huge comeback win against the Marlins thanks to none other than the team MVP, Dominic Smith. Comes through in the clutch, the bottom of the eighth. Not a grand slam this time, but a bases-clearing 3-run double to give the Braves the lead and ultimately the win with Raisel Iglesias coming in to close it out. What can you say about Dominic Smith at this point? I mean, what a move this has been for Alex Anthopoulos and the Atlanta Braves. He has been one of their just best hitters, period, to begin the season. What a great signing for the Braves. What a great start to the season for Dominic Smith. And you got to wonder at this point, I mean, should you just play him every day? You definitely need to move him up in the lineup a little bit when your righty's on the mound. He has been that good. 3 hits for him on the night. Just a great job there by Dominic Smith and the Atlanta Braves to get this one done. Ronaldo Lopez struggling with command a little bit early on, but found it, able to get it to the bullpen. Walt Weiss with his top guys fresh, able to go to them and close things out to get the win to even up the series.
The Angels pummeled the Yankees.
Talk about embarrassing. Following Monday night's win for the New York Yankees, you thought you could have built some confidence off of it, really gained something from winning a game like that in walk-off fashion. Apparently not the New York Yankees. I'm Brian McKeon from Locked On Yankees. They lose 7-1 the next day. And I mean, talk about lifeless, uninspiring. The team, quite frankly, didn't show up. Mike Trout got things started in the first inning with a home run, and apparently that scared the Yankees off enough to just not want to compete the rest of the game. I don't understand this team, and something needs to give at some point. You can't come off a 5-game losing streak with the game as good as you have on Monday, being able to come back and forth, win the game on a walk-off, and then drop a game and look completely uncompetitive the entire time. Something's got to give with this team. We're going to try and diagnose it all week on Locked On Yankees. Stay tuned in for Wednesday's episode. John Jastrzemski of New York will join us to try and break this stuff down a little bit.
And the Blue Jays move past the Brew Crew in extras.
How many Blue Jays fans had the most amount of panic attacks a person can have after this game? The ups, the downs, a roller coaster game. The Blue Jays come out on top, 9-7 in extra inning. Not Kevin Gausman's best day on the bump, but the team was actually able to get him a win on a day that he's on the bump. Agent Zero Andres Jimenez actually is continuing to have early season success, just like last year, but now to an elevated level. Can he keep this going throughout the rest of the year? I'll wait and see. Dog, absolute dog. Davis Schneider, this guy needs to be an everyday player right now. He is hot. Ride the hot hand. You have to do it. Yikes, Jeff. Gotta be better than that. Listen, it doesn't look all bad, but it's those mistake pitches. They absolutely kill Jeff Hoffman, and that's exactly what happened once again. Great hit by Miles Straw and a fantastic end of the game from Louis Varland.
The Trailblazers battled hard in their play-in contest against the Suns. Locked On Blazers host Mike Richmond reacted to Portland's fight with Phoenix in the desert with a trip to play Victor Wembanyama and the Spurs and the playoffs on the line.
First April game in 5 years. Welcome back. April showers. Huge final 3 minutes from JG. We'll get into all of that. Blazers win in Phoenix 114-110. Deni Avdija, 41 points, 7 boards, 12 assists, 15 of 22 from the floor. Got to the free throw line for 13 times, made 8 of them, missed some shots in that third quarter. Jeremy Grant, awesome off the bench. Shaedon Sharpe did his thing, better first half than second half, in my humble opinion. And the Blazers withstood pretty monster Jalen Green first half and a potential game-winning bucket at the end to make plays. They just did what they had to do. Now they're headed to the stinking playoffs. We're going to do fastest recap in the West here. There's a lot to get into today. I'm going to try to fit it into a normal show, but we'll have shows the rest of the week looking ahead to what's next. The Blazers are heading to San Antonio. They'll play the Spurs. They'll face Victor Wembanyama in his first playoff series. We'll get into all of that in future shows. Today we're going to focus on this play-in game. We'll start with our fastest recap in the West here. Now that we're 3 minutes in of excitement. Blazers up 2 after 1. They got a lot of early foul trouble. They committed 4 fouls in the first 320 of this game, and they're crushing the offensive glass and not making anything. And it looks for a moment there in that first quarter that that Phoenix just, they were making shots, right? They're just acing middies, and it feels like, if Jalen Green and Devin Booker are going to shoot like this, Blazers might be in trouble. And Deni Avdija just hadn't done anything. He didn't make a basket, like a field goal, until a minute 43 left in the first quarter. And that was his first real downhill drive of the game. He spent the first 10 minutes of the game trying to kind of figure out where and how he was going to attack, which is not very Deni-like, quite frankly. When he has big games, he usually has monster games right away, right? Like he's such an aggressive tone setter. But in this one, I thought the Suns' defense and the way they kind of just like walled off the paint early made it tough on Deni, right? To be where they were, they were down to 31 Suns. To be where they were, just down 2. It felt like they'd be okay. Deni made a layup with about a minute 45 left, and another one with just before the first quarter buzzer. Blazers down 2 after 1, and then Deni got going. Then he starts to figure out how it's going to work. He makes those 2 layups right at the end of the first quarter, and it's like, okay. I've got it dialed now. He has 12 in the second quarter, and he only had 1 free throw attempt in that second quarter. He was doing what he needed to do. He made a couple 3-pointers, but he's getting downhill and getting to the rim. Like he was finding his rhythm. And this wasn't just like one of those Deni, smash into someone's arms and get points. Like he had all of a sudden, after 10 minutes of kind of feeling out the Suns defense and figuring out what they needed to do, he was getting into the paint, and the Blazers were making everything.
Stay up to date all year on the Portland Trailblazers by subscribing to Locked On Blazers on your favorite podcast app. Coming up, the Cowboys might be trying to play a little bit of chess. Would it be okay for the Dallas Cowboys to lose a trade if it meant moving back from number 12 in the NFL draft? Locked On Cowboys host Marcus Mosher and Landon McCool discuss.
But I want to explore the possibility of moving back, but losing the trade. I think the Cowboys have been very conscious about trying to win these trades and make sure you get value. What if they can't get value? Is it still okay to make a trade?
Well, first of all, Marcus, why are you trying to lose a trade? That's just terrible. No, but I think it's fair. Yeah. No, of course. It's a good thought because as you've pointed out, sometimes the Cowboys can be a little bit too concerned about winning and losing a trade, and they lose the opportunity cost, right?
Or winning a deal, right? We've seen that happen before with someone like Micah Parsons. They did not want to lose a deal, and it ended up costing them the player.
So I do think there's something to this idea, and look, we've talked about it on the other end of things, right? That it's a trade uppers market. You know, there's going to be teams that are looking to
buyers
trade back,
market
get
is a
value.
good way to say that.
Yeah, sure, whatever. I mean, yeah, I guess buyers if you're trading up is what I
trade
mean.
uppers.
So, trade uppers it makes more sense. Yeah, so I think that it would obviously make sense that alternatively that if you're looking to trade back, you may not get the same kind of value that you normally would get in another draft. I do think that, you know, it's a little bit less severe down at the bottom half of the first round than probably the top half of the first round, because there's, you know, a lot of actual value at the bottom half of the first round as opposed to at the top half of the first round. But I do think that there's still, the rule probably still applies. You're probably taking less when you're trading back than you normally would.
All right, so let's go ahead and get into the simulation here, and we'll go through the picks here. Mendoza at 1, Jeremiah Love at 2, starting out great for the Cowboys. And then this is where it gets scary. Arvell Reese, 3 to the Cardinals. David Bailey, 4 to the Titans. Sonny Styles, 5 to the Giants. Caleb Downs, 6 to the Browns. That's 4 of our 5 targets, all off the board right in a row. Carnell Tate goes 7 to the Commanders. Francis Moinoa goes to the Saints at 8. Mansour Delane goes to the Chiefs at 9. Now the Cowboys are officially out of round 1 targets. Fano goes to the Bengals at 10. Mekhi Lemon goes 11. Ruben Bain is on the board, but as we discussed on our Tuesday show, Landon, it does not seem like they are going to draft him at 12. Dylan Thieneman is a guy that we've liked, but they have not had him in on a 30 visit. We don't get the sense that maybe they love him as much as we do. And then after that, it gets pretty tough.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, Jermod McCoy, another guy that we've talked about that is maybe some people view as worthy of this pick, but unfortunately, it sounds like the Cowboys have some concerns about that knee. So, yeah, I mean, unless you're willing to kind of reach on some of these other guys, or maybe it's not a reach in the Cowboys' eyes because obviously they don't necessarily like the same players that we do. I think that your only option is probably to kind of trade back or see if you can trade back and get a little bit similar value while picking up some more picks.
All right, so the team that we're going to look at here is the Carolina Panthers at pick 19. They are on the trade value chart, 19 and 51. Would be acceptable for 12. But I don't know how realistic that is. So what if the trade was, instead of 19 and 51, it was 19 and 83? That would be the Carolina's 3rd round pick. And the idea is that the Cowboys just want to get out of this pick. They want a top 100 pick. Yes, it's not ideal, but it's better than just sitting at 12 and picking.
Yeah, and I imagine the Cowboys could probably get a couple other later round picks thrown
maybe
in there.
Maybe a pick swap. Maybe you move, you get 119 and you give up 152 or something like that.
So, but I mean, we're not going to haggle all that out. The point of the exercise is to show what happens if you lose value on this trade back and where you're picking. So I think that, like this seems like something that, potentially could happen. You'd hope that you'd get a little bit more, but maybe you don't. And maybe they're holding you over the barrel because you're at a spot where you're not getting exactly great value for where you're picking.
All right, so let's make this pick at 19. A bunch of our targets go off the board. Dylan Thieneman goes to the Lions at 17. Emmanuel McNeil-Warren goes to the Vikings at 18. Top players available. Jermod McCoy, again, we're not going to consider him at 20. Now, maybe the Cowboys would. Maybe that's why they brought him in for a 30 visit. It doesn't sound like they're going to draft him at 12. But a couple of the other names, Akeem Mesidor, Keldrick Falk, Avion Terrell, Blake Miller, Cassius Howe, Cade McDonald, TJ Parker, Caleb Banks, Colton Hood. Who would you take here?
Well, first of all, you got back-to-back picks, just in case folks didn't realize at home, really right? You got 19 and 20, which is fun. So I think for me, at this point, I would take Akeem Mesidor, I think.
Okay.
At 20. I mean, I think clearly the Cowboys have some interest here, and I think at 20, the value makes a lot more sense.
Go ahead. So we're going to give you Mesidor at pick 19. Who do you want to do at 20 now? But again, real quick, this is the reason why do this exercise. Because if you're going to take him at 12, you might as well move back to 19 and draft him and pick up that extra pick at 83 because you might be able to find a starter there. You might also be able to package 83 and 92 together, get up into the 60s, and maybe that's where you find your starting linebacker.
No Super Bowls in 30 years. This is where we are with Dallas Cowboys discourse. Is it okay to lose a trade? Goodness. And finally, the Las Vegas Raiders are sitting on the number 1 overall pick. They're getting calls about it and politely telling everyone to kick rocks because unless something wild happens, it sounds like they're locked into quarterback Fernando Mendoza. Sure, they'll listen to offers. Every team says that. But this feels like one of those we're not even picking up the phone situations. The only real question is whether Mendoza actually sits behind veteran Kirk Cousins or if, like basically every other number 1 QB now, he's thrown into the fire by week 1 anyway. Coming up, it's Magic, Sixers, and Clippers Warriors in the second half of the NBA play-in. So at least until tomorrow, stay locked on sports today.
Locked On Podcast Network presents Locked On Sports Today.